Good morning, this is Deepak. How are you? I'm happy to be here again with you, continuing to answer questions from readers of You Are the Universe, Discovering Your Cosmic Self and Why It Matters. And as I've mentioned before, you can send me any question. The email to send the questions to is info@jayo.com. Info @jayo.com. Once again, info@jayo.com. Also, please download the app Jayo, Jiyo. You can download it on your handheld device from iTunes or also from Android. Jayo is our platform for creating an ecosystem together for a more peaceful, just, sustainable, healthier and joyful world. We need your participation, so please do download the app Jayo, Jiyo. You can also go to www.jayo.com on the internet and register there. The app is free and we have at least 25 experts in the areas of mind, body, spirit, yoga, meditation, exercise and many other things including relationships, financial well-being and so on. So please do download the app. Okay, so today's question is from Donna Ruffner and she says, why does the field of consciousness need mirrors, human or otherwise, to look at itself? Doesn't it comprehend itself already? Why something instead of nothing? Why instability, bubbles of potentiality versus stability? How and why did disillusion and ignorance arise in the cosmic consciousness, giving birth to the mirage of individual ego in the first place? Why would cosmic consciousness require contrast and illusionary ego, individual ego, when it so often results in suffering? Why, when the singular experience of oneness is so exquisite, as in meditation, did diversity arise in the first place? Why did cosmic consciousness need to have contrasting experiences at all? Why not rest or exist eternally in utter stillness? It is such an unsatisfying and disappointing answer if models of subjective experiences that include suffering exist because a variety of experiences are more interesting and allow cosmic consciousness to relieve boredom. It seems either selfish, juvenile or masochistic. I don't know how enabling or actualizing or experiencing the bubbles of potentialities of joy and positivity justifies the existence of suffering and negativity potentialities as well. The end game still seems no legitimate rhyme or reason. Please help me get beyond this hurdle in my spiritual journey. I know these are age-old questions and I may have probably asked the same questions several different ways. Please forgive the redundancy, but oh, how I struggle with these issues and long for peace. Okay, very good from Donna. The first thing I should say is that your question itself comes from the individual ego. And so if you weren't identifying with ego, this question wouldn't be there at all. So do recognize this, that this question itself can be answered by asking who or what is asking the question. Mirjana says, nothing real can be threatened, nothing unreal exists. From the Course in Miracles, that's true. Okay, so let me try and answer this question the best as I can. Consciousness can only be understood when it becomes conscious. And when it becomes consciousness, the only thing it can be conscious of is its own self. But as soon as consciousness becomes conscious of consciousness, it has to differentiate into experience. The peace that you talk about is a peace that spiritual traditions talk about, a peace that passes understanding, but that peace is beyond all experience. That peace is beyond all differentiation. In order for you to ask me this question, you had to have the experience of contrast. Without the experience of contrast, there is no experience. How can you have hot without knowing what cold is? How can you have up without knowing what down is? How can you know what pleasure is if you have not experienced pain? How can you have joy without suffering? So, for creation to manifest, it has to manifest in infinite diversity. Otherwise, that which is manifesting is not infinite. If it doesn't have infinite diversity, then it's not infinite. So, infinity is non-conceptualizable. Infinity is inconceivable. Anyone will tell you that. So, for the infinite to result in manifestation, there has to be contrast. If there is no contrast, then how can there be any experience? Now, you, Donna, are obviously longing for the peace that passes understanding. And that means you're longing for transcendence. And once you have that longing, then that longing will also be fulfilled. So, as individuals, we have a choice. We can have the illusion for as long as we want, and we can also go beyond the illusion if we want to. But as long as you are an individual and identify with that individuality, then all experience is through contrast. Now, what you can have is the dominance of joy without suffering. But even there, you can have the dominance of joy, but if you see the suffering of others, then that which we call empathy and compassion is participating in their suffering. And if you don't participate in the suffering of others, then of course it is a human condition that can lead to indifference, and it is a human condition that can lead to self-absorption, narcissism, and so many other things. So I want to now come back to your question in more detail, and I'll do so in 15 seconds. Okay, so now to continue to answer Donna Ruffner's question, as long as you identify with that which we call a person, as long as you identify with that which we call a person, recognizing that the person is a process in awareness. I've said this before, your body-mind is not the container of experience. Your body-mind is an experience in awareness. Your body-mind is not the container of awareness, I meant to say. Your body-mind is not the container of awareness, it's an experience in awareness. So when you shift into the awareness in which body-mind and everybody else that you call body-mind with names and all forms, then when you shift into that awareness in which this, all this, the entire universe and other people are all seen as differentiations at that, or as that one awareness, then the only experience that you can have is love, and it can be unconditional love, but it also encompasses empathy, which means feeling what others feel, the other body-minds feel, from the perspective of the individual body-mind. And then at that point, of course, when you have empathy, then you experience the suffering of others. How can you not? And from that comes compassion, and when you have compassion, you have the desire to alleviate the suffering of others, and when you have that desire, then love is born. So this is how consciousness hides itself to find itself. You prefer not to go through this journey, but you are only asking the question because you are in this journey. But as I said before, you can go beyond this. You can go beyond this you can go beyond this only through transcendence. And then you can be in the world and not of it. You can be local and non-local at the same time. You ask, to what purpose? Well, the only purpose that consciousness can have is to be conscious. Otherwise, it's just the ground of existence with no manifestation. So, as long as there's manifestation, there will be contrast. So I hope this answers you, and if it doesn't satisfy you, then just be and enjoy the experience of transcendence. And in that case, you can detach from all identifications and be grounded in the peace that passes understanding. Okay? Just be is not requiring a how. It is resting in awareness. It is non-doing. It is not identifying with thought or emotion or feeling or perception, and it is a very peaceful experience. The Buddhists call it stop and stop and just be. Stop and settle in. Stop and rest. Stop and drop in. That's what the Buddha said, and that's what the great teachers that follow that tradition says. Like a balloon. Stop, drop in, into being. And then we can be free. Now when you take that deep understanding and transform it into action, then that is called yogast kuru karmani. Yogast, established in yoga, perform action. And that is an attitude that is an attitude says, I'm not the doer, the doing happens through me. The infinite being is expressing itself through me. Choiceless awareness, spontaneous right action, spontaneous right thinking, no resistance, no anticipation, the right response to every situation as it occurs. Others have said it differently. First love, and then do whatever comes naturally. Pretty simple. First love, and then do whatever comes naturally. Love in action. Love without action is on the plane of the relative meaningless, and action without love on the plane of the relative is irrelevant. But love in action accomplishes miracles. So that's it for today. Thank you. And be sure to download Jiyo, Jiyo, and be sure to keep sending me your questions. And the place to send it is info@jiyo.com. Now I'm seeing a lot of people disagreeing, and so do continue to disagree. That is why we have this conversation. I can only tell you what I know from the level of my awareness. Okay, so all the best, and I'll be here tomorrow. Once again, thank you for joining me. Ramanand Dikshit, I love to see you here every day. You're amazing, and I agree with you. When you're present to presence, then you have self-power. Not agency power, but self-power. So namaste to you, Ramanand, and to everybody else here who is joining us. Thank you, and all the best.